Final rehearsals for the big Black Grace anniversary performance. Under the watchful eye of Ieremia, its creator, its inspiration, and its toughest critic.
I think it's good.
If I could have just kept dancing, I would have. I would have loved to have just been a dancer and being, and having the opportunity to just concentrate on your body and in your performance. But yeah, I love dance is my thing, and it's never stopped being my first love.
Have you had time to reflect on a massive achievement that is 30 years of Black Grace?
I guess in a way, stopped and asked to look back at the last 30 years has been a kind of a weird experience for me, because it's not something I'd normally do. But I was happy, remembered some great times, remembered some great people, and I just feel really grateful for the opportunity to be able to practice art in Aotearoa. And
Neil Ieremia is a name that needs no introduction in the dance world. From humble beginnings to the world stage, his cultural roots mixed with contemporary has amalgamated a career that spans more than 3 decades. So, how did a group of Pacifica boys find their way from the struggle streets of Cannons Creek, Porirua, to creating a company that would have a long-lasting legacy?
those guys, I've got a lot of fond memories and a lot of love for them. And a couple of them I brought with me from Cannons Creek. Another one I went to high school with, and a couple of the other boys I met while I was freelancing and worked with, and the others we just sort of brought in, and we knew each other, and I wanted to build this sort of environment that we all kind of felt comfortable in.
I guess dance is probably not the first thing that comes to mind when you think of Cannons Creek. So how did a boy from Porirua fall into dance?
Back in the day at school, every school back then used to have a poly club. And, you'd go there and you'd learn some, if one of the teachers would teach you Samoan dancing or Siva, and then a Cook Island teacher would teach you something from Rarotonga, and then, there'd be a bit of kapahaka, and then you'd all get in there and you'd learn if you wanted to. And I really enjoyed that.
Was it hard to bring that Pacific fusion to life in the, mid-90s when it wasn't really a thing?
I was working for, these fantastic choreographers, and they were just talking about where they were from, which was great. It's what you do, right? But none of them were from the neighbourhoods and the cultures that I was from. And so that was part of the impetus and the momentum behind starting Black Grace. We just wanted to do the things that we enjoyed. And, that was singing, there was a bit of, percussion, there was osasa and whakaupaki, a little bit of haka. So we just did what we wanted, and, everyone has their opinions, and, good on them. And everyone's entitled to it, but, I am who I am, and the work I make is the work I make.
Watching on, you get a sense of how physical and how demanding the routines are for these young dancers. Intricate choreography, dedication, grueling hours. Dancers know the rules. Show up or go home.
When you're watching your dancers, are you critiquing the whole time? Yeah. And what are you looking at specifically?
Well, whether they're doing it, whether we're getting the right sort of sense from it, from the choreography. And then on another layer, sort of more technique. So that lift he just did with her was wrong.
Yeah. How long would it take to learn a piece like this?
About now I'd be yelling at them.
Well, feel free. If you want to yell, you can yell. Don't worry about me.
Drawing inspiration from the melting pot of urban Pacifica culture and the crush of politics, racism, and just trying to get by. Finding hope and beauty within it, that's a large part of his artistic imprint.
My work is inspired by lots of things that go on here in our own nation, and the things that we perhaps tend to overlook from time to time. And my talents extend to the arts and creativity, and so I feel as part of my role is to be reflective of those things in some way, shape or form. And in other cases, just to bring joy and to bring some beauty and some light to things. Because sometimes it's bloody dark out
That's all
there.
we need, right?
Yeah, it's dark out there, and sometimes we just need to be reminded that, you know, there's more to life than sort of a whole bunch of people talking about us and around us and through us, but not actually talking to us.
In the last 30 years, Black Grace's resume is impressive. They've performed all over the world. Neil's collaborated with the Royal New Zealand Ballet and the New Zealand Opera. But there's one piece of work that still pulls on the heartstrings.
It dates back to 1995. It's called Relentless. I decided later that October I would make a work about a story I had read about a young Māori boy who'd gone to a dance. I think his name was Craig Manukau, and he was beaten to death by his dad because he was supposed to stay home and look after his siblings, but instead he went to this dance because he was a really good dancer. Dad went and got him from the dance, threw him through the car, beat him all the way home, and then put him to bed, and he died. We spent a workshop for an entire week or 2 weeks, but then on the last day, we just all broke down and cried. And we just cried and cried about that, you know, what we'd heard, what we'd experienced, what we shared.
Well, I'm sitting here crying myself because I can feel the heaviness that comes with it. Yeah, without a doubt, it feels like a piece of work that certainly hits home for a lot of people.
Ironically, people came out and said, "You can't talk about that. Don't talk about that. Don't show people that side of us." I was like, get stuffed.
That staunch attitude and self-belief is what sets Neil apart. And his new show, This Is Not A Retrospective, will celebrate that uniqueness.
I just wanted to have a party, and so that's what we're going to do. And you know that it's choreographed in a way that it's always Black Grace. There's always that athleticism, that physicality. There's the meanings behind all the language. So it's definitely us, but it's just not a retrospective.
Do you still get the same thrill of watching rather than performing?
You know, I think once you've performed and that's your thing, nothing can really replace it.
Yeah.
But when they do it really well, I feel amazing.
Yeah.
And when they do the work really beautifully, there's nothing quite like it.
1995 is when you started Black Grace. How proud would that Neil be of this Neil today?
Oh, I'd probably have a few things to say, I'm sure. But look, I think overall, I think you'd be really proud. I started out thinking that this is going to be something that's going to outlive me. I don't want it to die with me. It's a pointless thing. It's more about trying to create something that provides these opportunities long term for people who look like me and come from neighbourhoods that, you know, like I came from. And so I guess, yeah, I would be really proud, but you know, the work isn't finished yet. It's just about to start all over again, I'm sure.